Welcome to the Tight Knit Circle, a podcast where fiber artists and creatives of all levels and backgrounds come and talk about their passions and how it affects their daily lives. Please check out our video podcast on YouTube to see all pictures mentioned on this episode. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Tight Knit Circle.
Welcome to the Tight Knit Circle. I was very excited to have you on here today because I was scrolling through. I think I saw you from someone else's I think you were on someone else's stories, and I was like, oh my God, I love like her color combinations, and her logo is so cute. I was like, let me see if she wants to be on this podcast because I know it's something new that I'm doing. And I was like, oh, I hope that, she'll be able to get on. And I was happy when you got back with me and told me that you wanted to come on. So thank you so much for wanting to be a part.
Thank you for asking me. I was a little nervous when you asked me, just because I don't normally do stuff like this, and I'm a shy person, but I was like, you know what? No, I've been trying to push myself out of my comfort zone, and I feel like this is a really good opportunity, so I'm going to do it.
Exactly. I'm glad you did, because I've definitely am like that too. Like, this is the first time I'm doing anything like this, but I am more extroverted, so it's giving me like that hype energy. So I'm just very, very excited to have you on. So like, please just introduce yourself and tell me how you got started with crocheting.
Okay. So my name's Sydney. I'm from Georgia originally, but I live in North Carolina now. Yeah. And
so you live in North Carolina?
South Carolina.
Oh my God. I'm from North Carolina and I just moved to Georgia. That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so funny. We kind of like swapped then. I moved when I was 16, actually. I don't know if you want me to go into all that detail.
Oh, no, you can.
I have a really long life story. I guess I won't go into the bad parts because I didn't really have a good childhood. My parents are both on drugs, unfortunately. So I moved out when I was 16, hopefully to have a better life. And luckily, my fiance's family was really welcoming and they took me in.
So you were saying that your fiance, he helped you?
Yes. My fiance's family was really welcoming, thankfully, and they took me in and we lived with his parents for a little while, and then we moved out and lived on our own, and we were actually renting a place, and that's when I was working in fast food and trying to get an apprenticeship because I actually wanted to be a tattoo artist. That was my main passion for a really long time. Yeah. I learned how to crochet when I was 9, but like I said, drawing was my main passion. You were also 9?
Yeah, I learned how to knit when I was 8, and then I learned how to crochet like the next year when I was 9. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's weird. We have a lot in common, actually.
That's
but I learned when I was 9, and I crocheted for a few years, like on and off, but I wasn't really consistent with it because tattooing was my main thing. And then, unfortunately, the house we were renting, we let a girl that worked with me that needed a place to stay move in, and she kind of didn't do us very well and took everything we owned, including every bit of my art supplies. So I kind of was deterred from tattooing for a little while because I was sad about it. And we moved because we didn't feel comfortable staying there anymore. And I couldn't keep my job because it was too far away from my job at the time. So I just picked up crocheting again as like something to do during the day to give me something to make me happy again or just get my mind occupied. And I really started to enjoy it. I enjoyed it much more than I did when I first learned because I was starting to being opened up to the new world of crochet, I guess you could say, and not that there's anything wrong with what old ladies crochet, but it's just different. You know what I mean?
It is a difference. Yeah, it's definitely a difference. It is definitely a difference.
I fell down a rabbit hole on Pinterest one day too, and that just kind of like made it 10 times worse.
Yeah, Pinterest will get you.
Oh yes, it will. I had so many ideas flooding to my mind though after I saw that, because for me as an artist, like ever since I was a kid, no matter what type of art I'm doing, because I've always been interested in all types of art.
Yeah.
I don't copy anybody's thing from anything, but I have to like get inspiration from somewhere. My brain. I love to look at other art. It's so fun to just look at other people's art, and it helps ideas come to your mind, even though you're not looking at anything specifically. It's just like for some reason when you look at other art, it instantly makes you just like want to create and gets you in that mood, you know. But after I fell down the rabbit hole with Pinterest and started like learning even more about the new stuff with crochet, I really got into it and really enjoyed it. And I sold a few things at my mother-in-law's store, but I still never like technically planned to make a business out of it. It was just something that I really enjoyed to do. And then I posted a 4th of July top on my Instagram that I had made for myself. And I had a few people be like, oh my God, can I get one of those? Like, can you make me one? So I did a few custom orders, and then it's like, it never stopped. I've literally been doing custom orders ever since then. So it kind of like unintentionally turned into a business, but I'm really glad that it did, because I really, really enjoy it and I love it more than anything. So
Yeah, that's such a beautiful story. That really is. And that's one thing that I do love about like being a creative and crafting, is because I see that has helped so many people like have an outlet for when they don't know what to do, when they're going through like difficult times in life. Crocheting and knitting and just art in general and just being creative in general. I just hear so many stories of how it helped, women if they were going through cancer, or people who were, being rehabilitated from an accident and stuff. So it just is amazing to see, just because I didn't have that experience. It was more like I just saw a commercial of someone knitting and I was like, I want to do that too. And my parents didn't believe me. And then they finally believed me after I was persistent, and they let me do it. And over time, as I've gotten older, it's became an outlet for me, to push my creativity and to push myself. But it's just beautiful to hear stories like that when people have had that as an outlet, to use for them when
yeah,
they're going through difficult times. That is very beautiful to hear.
it's just funny how it helps people in so many different ways.
Yeah,
Like you said, with your situation is different, but then everybody's situation is different with it. And it
yeah,
seems like it helps everyone. It's not just art to us. It's like a healing
yeah.
project. I don't even know how to explain it, but
It is
it's
crazy.
just
It
it's
is.
amazing.
It is. It's such like a healing project. It's like our babies, or I think it's because we put our all into it, and every stitch we're putting our feelings and our emotions into the project. So it really becomes like, that's why I'm learning not to ask people what their favorite project is, because I've done that, and then people just like, I don't have a favorite. They're all my children. And now I'm like, okay, I'm not going to ask that question anymore, because that is true. Every piece that a person makes, whether they have mess ups in it or not, is something that they took the time to handmade. And that's why, I love what you're doing and what you're doing with the custom orders, and the whole slow fashion movement and stuff like that, because you are taking the time to make each piece with love, and that really does mean a lot, especially in the time like this, where everything's the next trend, the next this, the next that. And so how do you stay on top of trends, or do you try to stay on top of trends, or do you just do like your own thing and what you feel like you want to produce?
Really, I just do my own thing. Like, it probably seems like I follow trends, especially because like the whole cottagecore mushroom thing, but I started doing that like in the beginning of last year, before everybody else kind of jumped on it in the
Yeah,
crochet
from
community.
TikTok.
Not that I'm the first one. I had seen like one or two other people that did something with a mushroom on it before, but not like mine.
Yeah,
So once I started doing it, and then I saw a whole bunch of other people doing it, not that I think anyone copied me, it just
yeah,
just so happened to become popular at that
yeah,
time, and then everybody was in love with mushrooms. So it
yeah.
probably seems like I follow trends, but I really just try to stick to what I like and what I want to make and what I feel like is beautiful, or like what my heart just wants to make, and I'm a very colorful person. So
I love
sometimes,
that.
I mean, as you can tell,
Yeah, I love it.
sometimes I'm doing like super bright, colorful things, and then other times it's more just like solid, basic colors. But I try to make everything flow and look really nicely, and put a piece of each of my customers into everything that I make, which is the funnest part of it. That's why I like doing custom orders the most, though, is because of that process. It's instead of just making something and putting it on my website and then somebody buying it, it's you get to actually be personal with the customer and give them exactly what they're looking for. And it's like putting
Exactly.
a piece of their personality into their own piece of clothing. And that's really cool to me. I really like doing that.
Yeah, I think it becomes a very personalized experience when someone's telling you, "Hey, I have this idea," and it's still amazing me to this day every time I think about it, that we literally can take a piece of paper, draw up a design, and use some yarn and a hook and make it. Like
Yeah.
it's just such a crazy thing. Like you can literally see anything. You can look at a tree and like figure out how to crochet a tree. And I've been learning a lot more about like free form crochet, and even what you do like with the appliques of the mushrooms and stuff like that. I've been learning more about like how to do that and stuff and implement that into garments, because I really love to see that. And I do think that what you were saying about how, you were doing that. And I think, from the pandemic and everyone felt isolated and that whole cottagecore movement started, especially on TikTok, where they were like doing, different trends like e-boy, e-girl, visco girl, cottagecore. And so that became a really popular thing where now it's taken off and everyone's really like sticking to the whole cottagecore, slow fashion, nature type movement. I think it's beautiful to see. And I love that, that's what you were doing and that you're continuing to stick to it and not be moved by trends and stuff like that. I think that's very, very important.
Thank you. I've actually kind of noticed that it might be dying down a little bit. I don't know, but I don't care. I'm going to keep doing mushrooms forever because I just love them. And I guess that's kind of what I'm not giving me an identity, but I don't know. I feel like my crochet didn't really have a style until I started doing mushrooms, and then it kind of like formed its own style. And now it like all is uniform and looks nicely on my page and everything. But before it was just kind of like whatever my mind wanted to make that day.
Yeah, I love the vibe. Because I'm that way too. I'm trying to figure out like what's my style, what do I like, and it's so hard because, like you said, I love color, I love vibrancy, but then I also love like nudes and pastels as well. So I've been just trying to figure out how to make my feed represent myself the best, and I think that you're really doing that well. Because when I was looking at your feed and I was doing my research and stuff like that, I was like, I just love your feed and the progression of it. I love seeing the mushrooms. It really fits you, like especially your logo. That is the thing that I don't know if anyone else has like ever told you, but it's just something about the logo that really did something to me. It was just so beautiful, and I just keep looking at it. I'm like, that's a really nice logo.
Thank you. I actually wanted to draw it myself, but I was like, you know what? I don't have the equipment. I don't have the iPad and everything to do it digitally. So I'm just going to find an artist that will take my own style and what I would have wanted to draw on my own and make it for me, and put her own twist on it, of course, but like make it the way that I would have wanted to if I were able to do it myself. And the artist that I found really was able to help me do that. I'm really glad that I was able to get the logo that I did. I love it so much, and like you said, I feel like it really fits me and like describes each part of my personality. I don't know, it represents me nicely. I really like it.
It really does. So do you do any other crafts? Like, are you into drawing or just sewing or any other different types of crafts?
Yes, I love to draw, and I don't really draw that often anymore just because I'm so busy crocheting, but I repurchased all of my drawing supplies that I had and got even better stuff than I used to, so that whenever I want to, it's there. And I just recently got a sewing machine. I still haven't opened it yet, but I got it because it was on sale, and I knew that I was going to be getting one in the next few months because I really want to start doing fabric lined bags and certain clothing. Because I've had people that have piercings that want like lining inside of their clothing so that the crochet doesn't like rub their piercings. So I want to start. So I want to start like testing that out and stuff after I get some more custom orders out and have more time to test out my sewing machine. But as of now, I don't know a whole lot about sewing yet, but hopefully I'll be there soon.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know I want to get into so many things, sewing and learning how to dye yarn. It's just so many crafts that I want to learn how to do. But I just think like it's amazing that we can learn how to do all these things and stuff like that. It's so much to do out here. It really is. And that's why I wanted to do this podcast, because I just felt like there's so many talented people like yourself, and I just want to them to have a platform to share their stories and share why they do what they love. So do you have like a method of how you keep everything organized when you have like a bunch of custom orders coming in, and then like you said, you have a fiance, and so how do you like schedule out and balance your personal life with your work life? And it is still a hobby too that I'm sure you do on the sidelines as well. So like how do you just balance everything?
I mean, I wouldn't really recommend to other people to do it the way that I do, but I love it so much that it's literally become my life. I've heard a few people like other artists like recommending to other people not to create a business out of something you love, because it can get to the point where you get burnt out and you don't enjoy it the way that you used to. And I do agree with that for some people and in some situations, but for myself, I would be crocheting 24/7 even if it wasn't paying my bills. So it just kind of works out for me. I just kind of every day is a little bit different, but also the same. I don't really know how to describe it, but I keep all my custom orders in order of like the date that they're taken and everything. And I used to have a wait list, but I don't really do that anymore because unfortunately the majority of the people on the wait list aren't able to place an order by the time that I message them, and I'm opening customs again. So it just works out for me to like first come, first serve and put them all in order on a list. So I normally will do it depending on how big they are and how detailed they are. I'll normally do like 4 to 5 customs a week. And I used to do them all like separately, and now I kind of just like will work on a few at the same time to get them done by the end of the week. And then I try to ship by Monday every week. That's like the day that I like to ship all my orders out. But as far as like balancing it with my own life and with my fiance and everything and my 2 dogs, which I'm surprised they're being good right now, thank goodness, barking. I wake up in the morning, I try to do anything that I need to do around the house first, because I feel like if I get everything else out of the way, I can just have that time to sit down and craft, and I don't have to get up and do other things in between. So I try to get all my cleaning and everything done in the mornings, and then I try to sit down and just crochet as much as I can in between taking my dogs out to potty and stuff. And then when my fiance gets home, I cook dinner, clean again, and then I go back to crocheting until I go to sleep. So I basically crochet until I can't hold my eyes open anymore every single day. And I don't really have a day off ever. That's one thing that people don't realize with like, they're like, oh, you work from home, you're at home all the time, you get to do whatever you want, whenever you want, you got the good life. And I'm very, very thankful for what I have and being able to stay home and do what I love. But at the same time, people don't realize that it's like a constant job. It's not an 8 to 5 and you come home and just relax, because you're constantly taking orders and messaging people back and planning what you're going to do the next day, and taking pictures and editing pictures and making content for TikTok and then editing them. And it's so much.
Yeah, it is so much. And I'm just getting a little bit of a taste of what custom orders are like, because I just started doing them. And it's, for me, I'm like, okay, you need to sit down and plan a schedule, or you are going to be everywhere. So you're a pro at this by now. Like, I couldn't even imagine having like 5 like custom orders in a week. I'm struggling on just this one custom order, and this is the only one I have, and I've like ripped it out. It's just because like when someone tells you you have all creative control, and they don't have an idea of what they want, they say you can do anything you want. It's just like so much pressure, and I just want them to like it. I'm definitely kudos to you. I mean that is really amazing, and I can like hear the passion and see the passion that you have for it. And I think, like you were saying about burnout, I think someone told me that if you really love something, that you don't burn out. And I think that is true, because a lot of times people burn out, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just like, then should you be, doing that? Because if you're really passionate about something, like you said, whether you were getting paid or not, that's what you were going to be doing. So why not get paid? If that, you're going to be crocheting regardless, all day and stuff like that, then why not make it a business and do what you love? And I think that if you do it right, and like you said, and I do feel like you have an amazing passion for it, then I think it'll work.
Thank you. I was worried, like at first, like after like the first year of doing it, like, am I ever gonna get burnt out on this? I don't think so. And now another year later, I'm not. I have way more passion for it now than I even did a year ago or 2 years ago. I feel more excited to do it now, even when I first started, because it's like, because I never technically planned to start it, there wasn't that like initial excitement. It just kind of like kept going, and I was building my skill as I was doing it. Even though I learned how to crochet when I was 9, like I said, it was way different then. And I only used acrylic back then because that's all I knew. And not that I have anything against acrylic now, but once I started like transferring into cotton with clothing, I realized that it holds its shape better, and it's just all around works better for me. And once I started getting into all that, everything just started, I don't know, I really started to get more of a passion for it when I realized how I was constantly improving, and how that it can always change. It's never just the same. It's not, even when I'm making something that I've already made before, it never just feels like I'm making the same thing over and over again. I always have that same excitement for it. And I don't really know why, I guess just because I love it so much.
Yeah.
But like you said about how it's difficult when a customer gives you something but doesn't tell you exactly what they want. You just kind of
Yeah.
have to like wing it. Those used to make me really nervous, but now those are actually my favorite because I get to put the most creativity and like really, really get into it. And that's actually what I'm doing right now. The
Wow.
order that I'm working on the custom order I'm working on right now is actually for a customer who unfortunately lost their mom last year that was also a crocheter. And she had some yarn that she had set aside to make some stuff for her before she had passed away. So she reached out to me and asked me if she could send me her mother's yarn and have me make some pieces for her out of it to like, remember her mom.
That's
So
beautiful.
yeah, and I've never had a customer ask me something like that. So that felt like really special and really sentimental,
Yeah.
and I've been really enjoying working on it. But all she did really is both of the yarns she sent me were like some, not ombres, but like, the red heart stripes that are kind of ombre, but also kind of
Yeah.
stripes. She sent me two that were like a bunch of different crazy colors. Well, she ordered two different mushroom tops. I don't know if you know, I can just briefly describe them, but the one that I have that's like the halter with the two mushrooms and the grass and everything, she ordered one of those. And then she also got the granny square with the mushrooms all around the bottom. And I was like, how am I supposed to make this work with all these colors? Is it gonna like be uniform and like look nice? So I ended up deciding to just cut it all up based on the colors, like the whole balls of yarn, and then just like started from there. And it's actually turning out really cool. I'm really excited to post those. So I'll have to show them to you when I finish them.
Yeah, I want to see those, and that's just I just want to like support in any way I can. What is your favorite yarn and hook combo? Because I know like some people just use the recommended hook for the yarn, but then sometimes you could deviate and like switch it up. So do you have a favorite yarn and a favorite hook that you like to use together?
I do. Um, People kind of judge me for this, so hopefully nobody
No
gets
judgment
upset.
in
But
this podcast.
I've been shopping with Hobby Lobby for a really long time, and I know a lot of people don't really like Hobby Lobby anymore because all the controversy and stuff with them. And I totally understand that, honestly. Like if I could buy that yarn anywhere else, I would, but it's an
Yeah.
exclusive at Hobby Lobby and you can't get it anywhere else. So I'm like, and it's basically built my business at this point because I've used it on the majority of my clothing, and all of my designs I've made based around that yarn. And I don't know, I'm sure you've noticed that even yarns that are the same weight, technically they don't come out to the same gauge always. It's not always the exact same size. Even if you're using the same hook and the same size yarn, it's not always the same. So if I try to use a different 4-weight cotton, every other 4-weight that I use is just a tiny bit thicker than the I Love This Cotton from Hobby Lobby, so it ends up too big. So I have to alter my stitch counts and everything on all of my sizes depending on what yarn I'm using. So I prefer to use I Love This Cotton from Hobby Lobby just because I've based most of my designs around it, and it's also just so soft, and they have a really nice color selection. A lot of other places, they're usually always out of multiple different colors, or they don't have a lot of different color options, and it's irritating. So Hobby Lobby is my go-to, but recently I have been testing out other yarns too, and I really, really, really like the Lion Brand 24/7 cotton. It's just a touch thinner. It's considered a 4-weight too, but I would say it's closer to a 3-weight. It's a little bit thinner, and it's different than any other yarn I've ever used. I don't know how to explain it, but it's amazing. If you haven't tried it, you should.
Well, yeah, I definitely am now gonna have to try it because I haven't. I'm a newbie to exploring different yarns just because acrylic yarn was what I could afford for a super long time. Now that I'm kind of, working on getting a job and working on, making income with this because it was a hobby for such a long time. Then I'm just very excited to try cotton, try different types of yarn. This is my first time working with the Lion Brand Trubu. I think it's like a rayon bamboo type yarn. And so I'm working on with that yarn, and it's fun, learning to work with different yarns, and then knowing that, if you use a bigger hook, it's going to be different. If you use a smaller hook, it's going to be tighter, and it's just super, super fun. So do you usually have a set process about how you go about designing something, or do you just like let it free flow?
It kind of do you mean like just designing it, or like as far as like the stitch count and everything? Like, cause
Yeah, like if someone like sends you their measurements and stuff like that, do you make a gauge and then you like do it based off that, or do you just kind of like free flow it based off like the measurements they sent you?
before I had as much experience, I kind of had to do that because I didn't really know as much about the sizes and everything. So I had to do a lot more work before I could just start on a project. But
Yeah,
now that I've made so many in so many different sizes for all of my designs, I kind of have a guide now. I don't really have to do the gauge every time because I can go back in my notes and see what stitch count I did for this size before. And I also, pictures are also really helpful for me. I can kind of eyeball really well too. It makes some people a little uncomfortable, so I feel weird to just ask people, hey, can like I have a picture of you so that I can like
yeah,
eyeball it, because I don't want to make someone uncomfortable about that. But I kind of can compare based off of that with breast size and everything, because I
yeah,
try, all of my backs are adjustable, so they can be tightened or loosened to any band size for the most part. The most important part is getting the breast size exactly perfect and making sure
yeah,
they fit that, because not every breast is the same. Everybody's
definitely.
totally different.
Yeah.
So I try to get it as close as possible based on that. But I don't know. It's hard to explain because I've just done it for so long now that I just kind of know what to do. But it was really intimidating beforehand trying to design things, especially in sizes I hadn't done before, because I was like, oh my God, is this going to be right? And luckily everything has been right so far and I haven't had any problems. But I don't really have to do a gauge anymore. No, it's just I go through my notes, and if it's a size I haven't done before, I might like will make a chain like to that size and like test it out a few different times. If I feel like it's too big or too small, I'll pull it out and like start over. But I kind of go that route now than having to do the gauge and everything.
Yeah. Do you make for yourself? Like, do you make yourself stuff and give stuff to people as well?
I used to make myself stuff.
If you don't mind saying, like, how old are you?
I'm 22. I just turned 22 last week, actually.
Wow. Well, happy belated birthday. I'm 23. My birthday was in March. So, I mean, we're close in age. So that's
Yeah, I
that's
felt
really
really
good.
comfortable talking to you. I don't know why I was like more nervous than I like really needed to be, because I actually haven't been nervous at all now that I've been talking to you. I feel so comfortable, and I
Wow.
really enjoyed it.
I have too. It's just been so fun, like meeting you, and I'm just like, wow, like this is what I need. I need more crochet friends because I never have had any because I was just more to
Same.
myself, and I never wanted to be a part of any drama or anything like that. I wanted to shy away from all of that, and so I just always stayed to myself and stuff like that. But now I'm like, okay, if you don't want to be a part of the drama, then why don't you create a positive platform? So I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, I'll do that.
That's a great idea. I'm really glad that you did that. And you do it really well. I think you're doing amazing for
Thank
just starting
you.
out. You're doing a really great job. And I love your background. It's so colorful.
Thank you so much. It's the studio that I film at is a part of a family studio. So literally all my family comes down here. They each have like their own different shows. They have like a creative marketing company. It's called Yellow Tub Creative. So I was just like, can I
Oh,
use the studio too? And I was like, yeah, you can use the studio.
it's really amazing to come from a whole family of artists. That's so cool.
It's crazy because you know how us artists think. And to have everyone thinking the same way, it can clash sometimes.
Yeah, I could see that. Especially if
But it
everybody has
is
their own
fun.
style and everybody's trying to like have their own style.
Yeah, and then it's like, you have a bunch of introverted people all together. It's just it's hilarious, but it's really really fun. And I've had an amazing time talking to you. And thank you so much for like coming on here and talking with me. And it's just been an amazing experience, honestly.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed talking to you and getting to do something I had never done before and push myself out of my comfort zone. So I'm really proud of myself.
I'm proud of you too, and I just can't wait to see all that you're doing. I can't wait to see, what you're working on with the lady in the custom order and stuff like that. I can't wait to see that, and I'll make sure to have all your links below so people know where to follow you at, and we can just keep all growing along on this journey with you because you're an amazing person, and honestly, I'm super proud. Even though I just met you, I'm just feel proud. I'm like, wow, like she's really
Yeah.
doing her thing.
If you had seen where I had come from, and if I had had the time to really fully explain my whole life story,
Yeah,
it really makes me really proud of myself because of
you
where I've
should
come
be.
from and where I'm at now. So
Yeah, you should be very proud of yourself because I can really like see the passion in you and stuff like that, and you should just be
thank you.
very proud of that. So I just, with this episode, I hope everyone can, learn from this episode and learn that, if you're passionate about something, you just keep going forward, regardless of the obstacles that you face. If you have faith in something, you just keep going forward and keep pushing, and you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that,
Exactly.
you doing this, do you see yourself like doing this for long term?
I do. I really do. When I think back to myself as a kid, because art was my outlet my whole childhood. It got me through everything that I went through, and just thinking about to the little things that I used to do back when I was a kid, like practicing and pretending to be like an art teacher, and all the little things that I did, I feel like prepared me for what I have to do now.
Yeah.
It sounds silly, but sometimes like when I'm like packaging my tops and stuff, I don't know if you've seen any of my packaging videos, but I get really into it and I take it like really seriously and make it like super pretty and do way more than I really have to, just because I enjoy it, and it makes that like inner child inside of me so happy. It makes me think back to all the times when I was a kid pretending to do all that kind of stuff, and now I'm like actually getting to do it for a living, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. One thing I told my brother is that us playing those little kid games of like those online games and stuff like that, and either just make believe and stuff, really has helped, especially if you're creative. You could really see how like pretending to run a business on an online game helps you even to run a business now. Because he
Yeah.
himself, like he's an amazing creative director, amazing makeup artist and stuff like that. And we're always talking about how us playing little games like side pats and girl sense and the fashion games and this game, like how it really helps us now. It's just crazy how that relates. Your childhood, does help. I'm gonna let you go.
I'm sorry for talking too long again and letting that happen again.
I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for being on this episode of the Tight Knit Circle. It was amazing talking to you, and I definitely have to talk to you personally and just again and get to know you more because you're really an amazing person and stuff. So I hope everyone enjoyed this episode, and this is going to be a really funny one to edit and just to see. But thank you so much again, and I hope you have an amazing day.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope you have a great day too.
Okay, this is hilarious. Okay, I'm gonna go tell my whole family about how this thing just kept cutting off, but we kept it going though. We really kept it going. Like we just kept coming back on and talking like it didn't happen.
I think we did a good job. We handled it pretty well.
Thank you so much though, for real. Thank you so much. And I'll definitely have to pick a time to like talk to you or call you later just to talk to you a little bit more and stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to get to know you. We have a lot in common.
Yeah, we do. And I'm just like, wow, I'm making friends. I'm so happy.
Yes, and having crochet friends is really fun because I've never had anyone else that does the same thing I do or shares that passion. So it's awesome to be able to talk to somebody else that shares that passion and understands it.
Yeah, so I'll definitely talk to you again. It was crazy because I was just in Myrtle Beach like last week.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so next time I go, I would definitely see if we can like hook up or something like that and see each other. So,
all right.
Yeah, so I'll talk to you soon, and thank you so much again. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.